Hello students, we are moving on to the second part of your Industrial Disputes Act, which are your provisions that relate to strikes and lockouts and layoff and retrenchment. Strikes and lockout. Strike means a cessation of work by a body of persons employed in any industry acting in combination, or a concerted refusal or a refusal under a common understanding of any number of persons who are or have been so employed to continue to work or to accept employment. Lockout means the temporary closing of a place of employment or the suspension of work or the refusal by an employer to continue to employ any number of persons employed by him. So, strike is done by the employees and the lockout is done by the employer. Prohibition of strikes and lockouts, Section 22. No person employed in a public utility service shall go on a strike in breach of contract without giving to the employer a notice of strike as hereinafter provided within 6 weeks before striking, or within 14 days of giving such notice, or before the expiry of the date of the strike specified in any such notice as aforesaid, or during the pendency of any conciliation proceedings before a conciliation officer and 7 days after the conclusion of such proceedings. No employer carrying on any public utility service shall lock out any of his workmen without giving them notice of lockout as herein provided within 6 weeks before locking out, or within 14 days of giving such notice, or before the expiry of the date of lockout specified in any such notice as aforesaid, or during the pendency of any conciliation proceedings before a conciliation officer and 7 days after the conclusion of such proceedings. The notice of lockout or strike under this section shall not be necessary where there is already in existence a strike, or as the case may be, lockout in the public utility service. But the employer shall send intimation of such lockout or strike on the day on which it is declared to such authority as may be specified by the appropriate government, either generally or for a particular area or for a particular class of public utility services. The notice of strike referred to in subsection 1 shall be given by such number of persons to such person or persons and in such manner as may be prescribed. The notice of lockout referred to in subsection 2 shall be given in such manner as may be prescribed. If on any day an employer receives from any person employed by him any such notices as referred to in subsection 1, or gives to any person employed by him any such notices as are referred to in subsection 2, he shall within 5 days thereof report to the appropriate government or to such authority as the government may prescribe the number of such notices received or given on that day. General prohibition of strikes and lockouts, Section 23. No workman who is employed in any industrial establishment shall go on a strike in breach of contract, and no employer of such workmen shall declare a lockout during the pendency of conciliation proceedings before a board and 7 days after the conclusion of such proceedings, during the pendency of proceedings before Labour Court, Tribunal or National Tribunal and 2 months after the conclusion of such proceedings, during the pendency of arbitration proceedings before an arbitrator and 2 months after the conclusion of such proceedings where a notification has been issued under subsection 3A of section 10A, or during any period in which a settlement or award is in operation in respect of any of the matters covered by the settlement or award. Illegal strikes and lockouts. A strike or lockout shall be illegal if it is commenced or declared in contravention of section 22 or section 23, or it is continued in contravention of an order made under subsection 3 of section 10, where a strike or lockout in pursuance of an industrial dispute has already commenced and is in existence at the time of reference of the dispute to a board, arbitrator, labour court, tribunal or national tribunal. The continuance of such strike or lockout shall not be deemed to be illegal provided that such strike or lockout was not at its commencement in contravention of the provisions of this Act, or the continuance thereof was not prohibited under subsection 3 of section 10. A lockout declared in consequence of an illegal strike or a strike declared in consequence of an illegal lockout shall not be deemed to be illegal. Prohibition of financial aid to illegal strikes and lockouts. No person shall knowingly expend or apply any money in direct furtherance of support of any illegal strike or lockout. Penalty for illegal strike or lockout. Any workman who commences, continues, or otherwise acts in furtherance of a strike which is illegal under the Act shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 50 rupees, or with both. An employer who commences, continues, or otherwise acts in furtherance of a lockout which is illegal under this Act shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 1000 rupees, or with both. Penalty for instigation. Section 27. Any person who instigates or incites others to take part in or otherwise acts in furtherance of a strike or lockout which is illegal under the Act shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to rupees 1000, or with both. Penalty for giving financial aid to illegal strikes and lockouts. Any person who knowingly expends or applies any money in direct furtherance or support of any illegal strike or lockout shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1000 rupees, or with both. Provisions relating to layoff and retrenchment. Layoff means the failure, refusal, or inability of an employer on account of shortage of coal, power, raw material, or the accumulation of stock, or the breakdown of machinery, or natural calamity, or for any other connected reason, to give employment to a workman whose name is borne on the master rolls of his industrial establishment and who has not been entrenched. The explanation of this is that every workman whose name is borne on the master rolls of the industrial establishment and who presents himself for work at the establishment at the time appointed for the purpose during normal working hours on any day and is not given employment by the employer within 2 hours of his so presenting himself shall be deemed to have been laid off for that day within the meaning of this clause, provided that if the workman, instead of being given employment at the commencement of any shift for any day, is asked to present himself for the purpose during the second half of the shift for the day and is given employment, then he shall be deemed to have been laid off only for 1/2 of that day. Provided further that if he is not given any such employment, even after so presenting himself, he shall not be deemed to have been laid off for the second half of the shift for the day and shall be deemed to be entitled to full basic wages and dearness allowance for that part of the day. Retrenchment means the termination by the employer of the service of a workman for any reason whatsoever otherwise than as a punishment inflicted by way of disciplinary action, but does not include voluntary retirement of the workman or retirement of the workman on reaching the age of superannuation if the contract of employment between the employer and workman concerned contains a stipulation in that behalf, or termination of service of the workman as a result of the non-renewal of the contract of employment between the employer and the workman concerned on its expiry, or of such contract being terminated under a stipulation in that behalf contained therein, or termination of the service of a workman on the ground of continued ill health. Definition of continuous service. For the purposes of this chapter, a workman shall be said to be in continuous service for a period if he is for that period in uninterrupted service, including service which may be interrupted on account of sickness or authorized leave or an accident or a strike which is not illegal, or a lockout or a cessation of work which is not due to any fault on the part of the workman. Where a workman is not in continuous service within the meaning of the clause, for a period of 1 year or 6 months, he shall be deemed to be in continuous service under an employer for a period of 1 year if the workman during a period of 12 calendar years preceding the date with reference to which calculation is to be made has actually worked under the employer for not less than 190 days in the case of workmen employed below ground in a mine, 240 days in any other case. For a period of 6 months if workmen during a period of 6 calendar months preceding the date with reference to which calculation is to be made has actually worked under the employer for not less than 95 days in the case of a workman employed below ground in a mine and 120 days in any other case. Explanation: for the purpose of the clause, the number of days on which a workman has actually worked under an employer shall include the days on which he has been laid off under an agreement or as permitted by standing orders under the Industrial Establishment Act or under this act or under any other law applicable to the industrial establishment. He has been on leave with full wages earned in the previous years. He has been absent due to temporary disablement caused by accident arising out of and in the course of his employment, and in case of a female she has been on maternity leave, so however that the total period of such maternity leave does not exceed 12 weeks. Right of workman laid off for compensation. Whenever a workman other than a badli workman or a casual workman whose name is borne on the master rolls of an industrial establishment and who has completed not less than 1 year of continuous service under an employment is laid off, whether continuously or intermittently, he shall be paid by the employer for all days during which he is so laid off, except for such weekly holidays as may intervene. Compensation which shall be equal to 50% of the total of the basic wages and dearness allowance that would have been payable to him if he was not laid off. Provided that if during any period of 12 months a workman is so laid off for more than 45 days, no such compensation shall be payable in respect of any period of the layoff after the expiry of first 45 days. There is an agreement to that effect between the workman and the employer, provided further that it shall be lawful for the employer in any case falling within the foregoing provision to retrench the workman in accordance with the provision contained in section 25F at any time after the expiry of the first 45 days of the layoff, and when he does so, any compensation paid to the workman for having been laid off during the preceding 12 months may be set off against the compensation payable for retrenchment. Duty of an employer to maintain master rolls of the workmen. It is the duty of an employer to maintain master roll of workmen, notwithstanding that workmen in any industrial establishment have been laid off. It shall be the duty of the employer to maintain for the purposes of this chapter a master roll and to provide for making of entries therein by workmen who may present themselves for work at the establishment at the appointed time during normal working hours. Section 25E. Workmen not entitled to compensation in certain cases. No compensation shall be paid to a workman who has been laid off if he refuses to accept any alternative employment in the same establishment from which he has been laid off, or in any other establishment belonging to the same employer, situated in the same town or village, or situated within a radius of 5 miles from the establishment to which he belongs. If, in the opinion of the employer, such alternative employment does not call for any special skill or previous experience and can be done by the workman, provided that the wages which would normally have been paid to the workman are offered for the alternative employment also. Secondly, if he does not present himself for work at the establishment at the appointed time during normal working hours at least once a day. If such laying off is due to a strike or slowing down of production on the part of workmen in another part of the establishment. Section 25. Conditions precedent to retrenchment of workmen. No workman employed in any industry who has been in continuous service for not less than 1 year under an employer shall be retrenched by that employer until the workman has been given 1 month's notice in writing, indicating the reasons for retrenchment and the period lieu of such notice, wages for the period of notice. B. The workman has been paid at the time of retrenchment compensation which shall be equivalent to 15 days of average pay for every completed year of continuous service or any part thereof in excess of 6 months, and notice in the prescribed manner is served on the appropriate government or such authority as may be specified by the appropriate government by notification in the official gazette. Procedure for retrenchment, section 25G, where any workman in an industrial establishment who is a citizen of India is to be retrenched and he belongs to a particular category of workmen in that establishment, in the absence of any agreement between the employer and the workman in this behalf, the employer shall ordinarily retrench the workman who was the last person to be employed in that category, unless for reasons to be recorded, the employer retrenches any other workman. 25H, re-employment of retrenched workmen, where any workmen are retrenched and the employer proposes to take into his employ any persons, he shall in such manner as may be prescribed give an opportunity to the retrenched workmen who are citizens of India to offer themselves for re-employment, and such retrenched workmen who offer themselves for re-employment shall have preference over other persons. Section 25FF, compensation to workmen in case of transfer of undertakings, where the ownership or management of an undertaking is transferred, whether by agreement or by operation of law, from the employer in relation to that undertaking to a new employer, every workman who has been in continuous service for not less than 1 year in that undertaking, immediately before such transfer shall be entitled to notice and compensation in accordance with the provisions of section 25F, as if the workman had been retrenched, provided that nothing in this section shall apply to a workman in any case where there has been a change of employers by reason of the transfer, if the service of the workman has not been interrupted by such transfer, the terms and conditions of service applicable to the workman after such transfer are not in any way less favorable to the workman than those applicable to him immediately before the transfer, and the new employer is under the terms of such transfer or otherwise legally liable to pay to the workman in event of his retrenchment compensation on the basis that his service has been continuous and has not been interrupted by the transfer. Section 25FF, 60 days notice to be given of intention to close down any undertaking. An employer who intends to close down an undertaking shall serve at least 60 days before the date on which the intended closure is to become effective a notice in the prescribed manner on the appropriate government, stating clearly the reasons for the intended closure of the undertaking, provided that nothing in this section shall apply to an undertaking in which less than 50 workmen are employed or less than 50 workmen were employed on an average per working day in the preceding 12 months. An undertaking set up for the construction of buildings, bridges, roads, canals, dams, or for other construction work or project, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, the appropriate government, if it is satisfied that owing to such acceptance circumstances as accident in the undertaking or the death of the employer or the like, it is necessary so to do, by such order direct that provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply in relation to such undertaking for such period as may be specified in the order. Compensation to workmen in case of closing down of undertaking. Where an undertaking is closed down for any reason whatsoever, every workman who has been in continuous service for not less than 1 year in that undertaking immediately before such closure shall, subject to the provision of subsection 2, be entitled to notice and compensation in accordance with the provisions of section 25F as if the workman had been retrenched, provided that the undertaking is closed down on account of unavoidable circumstances beyond the control of the employer. The compensation to be paid to the workman under clause B of section 25 shall not exceed his average pay for 3 months. The explanation to this is an undertaking which is closed down by reason merely of financial difficulties or accumulation of undisposed stock or the expiry of period of lease or license granted to it, or in a case where the undertaking is engaged in mining operation, exhaustion of the minerals in the area in which such operations are carried on shall not be deemed to be closed on account of unavoidable circumstances beyond the control of the employer within the meaning of provisions to this subsection, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1. Where an undertaking engaged in mining operation is closed down by reason merely of exhaustion of the minerals in that area in which operations are carried on, no workman referred to in that subsection shall be entitled to any notice or compensation in accordance with the provisions of section 25F. If the employer provides that the workman with alternative employment with effect from the date of closure at the same remuneration as he was entitled to receive and on the same terms and conditions of service as were applicable to him immediately before the closure. The service of the workman has not been interrupted by such alternative employment, and the employer is under the terms of such alternative employment or otherwise legally liable to pay to the workman in the event of his retrenchment compensation on the basis that his service has been continuous and has not been interrupted by such alternative employment. Thank you students for patiently listening. This is all for your syllabus. A question bank has been already sent to you. Make sure you go through the questions and prepare your topics. Best wishes.